welcome to our special on-location edition of SAC News here at the Great Pacific Airshow at Huntington Beach, California. I'm Andrew Lapp, and joining me today is Kimberly Matthews with Santa Ana College. Kimberly, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
So you're here to tell us a little bit about some of the work education certificates. Do I have that right?
Right, so we have at Santa Ana College, we have 36 different departments that are classified as career education. And this means that students can take certificate or degree programs that last anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. And then upon completion, they're ready to enter into jobs that are in high demand or high wages.
Okay.
And here at the Airshow, we have 5 of our different programs represented. We have manufacturing, welding,
Yes, all around us, huh?
biotechnology, right? We have TV, video communications, as well as business applications and technology, because starting in spring, they're going to be offering a drones course.
Okay, is that new?
Yes,
Okay,
it is.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So how do you guys add new certificates to the program, and like what determines that?
So we primarily, every different department, right, that's classified as career education has what are called advisory committee meetings. And these are held once to twice a year, and we bring in industry reps, right? A lot of times employers to tell us what are the needs in the local and surrounding communities. And then from that, we try to understand, okay, how many positions would you have available? What are the skills needed? And then we work with them to help develop our curriculum.
Okay, that's really interesting. So when people go from these certificate programs, do you kind of like track their progress and see like that they're filling those jobs?
So we have started, there's actually, it's called through one of the grants, the Strong Workforce Program grant, which is the State Chancellor's Office. They created what's called the Launchboard data tool. And what that does is it does track students, not only their enrollment in programs, but also their completion, and then where they're working and how long they were there. As well as once a year, we also do, it's called a CTE Employment Outcomes Survey, and it's sent to students a year after they graduate. And so it asks them like how long it took them to find a job, where are they working, is the job they're working in close related to what they studied at Santa Ana College.
Okay, very cool. How are these certificates different than just like coming to Santa Ana College and getting, say, like an associate's degree?
So they're different because, again, they prepare you, they're hands-on, so you're getting work experience while you're doing the job, while you're taking your education classes, as well as a lot of the technology, equipment, and software that are required, right, are aligned with what industry is currently using. So the idea is you're getting trained using the same equipment, technology, and software that will help you then once you get a job in that industry.
Okay, yeah, very cool. That's exactly what my experience has been so far. I mean, you know, everything we're doing today here is with cameras that people use in the news industry. And so everything has been very hands-on. Like my class here at Santa Ana College is about news and doing broadcast news, and it feels sometimes more like a job than a class. Do you feel like that's kind of the same experience that most students have coming through these programs?
Right, exactly. So we want them to have that experience, because the number one feedback we get from employers, right, is a lot of times if they look at 2 resumes, right, and people have the same classes that they've taken, but one person, it's all been theory, right, and lecture, and no hands-on or lab.
Sitting in a classroom.
Right, then obviously they're going to go with the one who has, like you would call it, work experience, right?
Yeah.
So that's what employers want. And in fact, we have students who come back to take our classes because they're hands-on after they have 4-year degrees, because it was all lecture or theory, but they have no hands-on application.
Yeah, definitely. I have plenty of colleagues here who have like a degree in something else and then came back to get a little bit more training before they actually go out and join the workforce. Tell me a little bit more about what you guys hear from employers. Like, have you gotten any feedback from them?
So generally they're very satisfied with our students. We have some very good industry connections, like I'm thinking in automotive, it's with Fletcher Jones. I know usually every time we tour there, we see anywhere from 5 to 10 of our current or prior students working as we're on the tour. So again, we have good feedback. They like working with our students. They know that we prepare them. As well as with the soft skills. So that's another thing too. We also at Santa Ana College, not sure if you're aware of it, we have an internship program. And through the internship program, students get assistance on their resumes, on their interview skills, creating LinkedIn profiles. And so going through the internship program also ensures that students have the necessary soft skills to be successful in their chosen careers.
Awesome. That's very optimistic. I like hearing that. All right. Thank you very much, Kimberly. we're going to go now to my co-host, Katie LeCarry. She has another interview for us on Huntington Beach's pier.
Thanks, Andrew. I'm here with Josh Bedwell, who is an adjunct faculty with the manufacturing department. Thank you for joining us, Josh.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about the manufacturing program here at SAC.
So we have a number of CNC lathes and mills, which are machines used to cut various different types of materials. We focus mostly on metals. And we teach the students how to run the machines, how to program the machines, and some of the basic maintenance on the machines, and then also how to check the product that they make off of it. And so we make actual products on site. We have a full machine shop downstairs, and then we have a number of computer labs and other areas where we do various different aspects of the afterwards.
So just for people who don't know, can you talk a little bit about the manufacturing field in general?
So manufacturing comes with everything. So the tables we make, or the tables we use, the chairs we sit in, the cameras being used to record this, your cell phone, your pens are all made somewhere. So production is a worldwide operation. The quality control aspect of it is done on site in everywhere we do it. You'll find some states and cities where it's more focused, but I mean, ideally you can go anywhere and find somewhere where somebody is making something, and the tools we have are the tools that are used.
And so can you just describe a little bit how this program trains students for the job market?
Sure. So you'll come in, a student would come in, and we would teach them the basics of what the machines are, what the tools are. We would teach them how to run the machines, and then they can get into more advanced setup where they set up the machines so that somebody else can run it. And then they'll get into programming of the machines and the basic maintenance on the machines. And we show them what they would do in a job field. And then on top of that, a lot of our students are already working. So we have a lot of people that come back for continuing education, as well as new students that come in for new education. So we get a lot of guys straight out of high school that want to go into the field, and we get even more people from the field. And so we have both the education portion in the classroom and the people that work in the field that are showing the newer guys what they do.
Okay, oh, that's really cool. So it's kind of like a mentorship, mentee type of thing. And do you think like getting work experience while you are like getting your education helps you get a job in the long run?
Work experience is always good.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the most part, anything that you're going to learn, you're going to apply directly to what you do. Most of our students are working. So I believe one of the other instructors was talking about we have something near 100% working rate for our students.
Oh, wow.
It's really high. So, and that's it. There's a lot of production jobs out there. So it's not that hard to find a job in the area. And what we do is so directly relevant to what is done in the fields that it ends up being really easy for them to get into the fields.
And can you describe like how well paying these jobs are and what is the career path for a graduate?
So entry level, there's anything from minimum wage up to in the 20s and $30 an hour jobs. So it's very common to see. Once you get into the higher and the more complex and the more specific, guys make $100,000 to $200,000 a year doing this kind of work. The career path, I mean, most of the time they'll start you entry level. They want a certain amount of experience. These are really expensive and delicate machines. So they don't want to just stick anybody onto a machine and say, hey, here, have this, and please don't break our $300,000, $400,000, $1 million machine. But once you've gotten a year or two experience and you get into that 5 years experience, it's a lot of opportunity to move up and work your way through. So they will always start off as entry-level machining or entry-level quality, and then they'll go into the supervision and the more complex programming and things like that.
All right, thank you so much for joining me today, Josh. Andrew, back to you.
Thanks, Katie. I am back here with another interview. I have Arturo Salazar from SAC's Biotechnology Department. Arturo, thank you for being with me today.
Thank you for having me.
So you're a student here at SAC. You're also an instructor's assistant? Is
Yes.
that what you're telling me?
Yes.
All right. That sounds like a lot of responsibilities. So
It
give us a
can
little
be.
bit of an overview of that.
So basically what I do, my title is instructional assistant, but I also do outreach work. So I come to events like this and I kind of help show anyone who's interested in our field, biotechnology, what we do. So we do different like little experiments here, and we kind of go over the things that they have, potential at Santa Ana College, like getting a certificate in less than a semester. And I just come out here and help people as much as I can in terms of experiment, getting interested, and showing them what they can do in our area.
Yeah, you were mentioning to me before we rolled that you guys do like some experiments here just to kind of like grab people's interest. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we have several experiments lined up for people who are interested in our booth. So there's kind of a DNA extraction thing where we give them the opportunity to extract DNA from strawberries. And
Okay.
another one would be kind of something called a polydensity solution where we play with different beads and different, like a mixture kind of thing. And so
Okay.
they have different densities, and the beads will float at different levels occasionally instead
Oh,
of
okay.
rising to the surface.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are that sounds really cool. But what are like more of like the real world kind of applications that you guys end up working on in class and in your labs and stuff?
So real world applications encompass so many things. Our field is so broad: biology, technology, biotechnology.
Right.
In lab work,
That's everything, right?
Yeah, that's everything. So in lab work, we do a lot of different things. We can teach them the basic skills entry-level positions require at industry jobs or even research. And so they just work a lot with technical skills, soft skills, and we help them prepare them for any kind of position they're looking for and internships.
Okay, cool. Have you had colleagues like move on from this certificate, and do you know where they've gone on to go work at?
I'm not sure about my cohort itself because we're very close knit, but I know for sure that our coordinator gives them the opportunity to get to industry jobs and internships. So I know for a fact that plenty of our students go off to very reputable industry to work lab jobs.
Yeah, and you were telling me that you did an internship, right?
Yeah, I
At
did.
Cal State Fullerton?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that experience.
So that experience was really fun because over the summer, 8-week program internship at Cal State Fullerton, where I did research with two primary investigators that showed me how to work with a cancer drug. And so I worked in the lab and I worked theoretically to build something that could deliver cancer drug to cancer cells and maybe kill them off.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So is that that's like cutting edge? I mean, it sounds cutting edge to
Yeah.
me. So you're working with stuff that's going on in the industry right now.
Yeah, definitely. Like this drug called doxorubicin is one of the potential cancer therapeutics. So it's, I would say it's in industry right now. They're working with it as well as we're working it with our interns.
Yeah. So one of the things that we're kind of talking about today with some of these certificates and the certificate education programs is how people get to do like hands-on work as opposed to just like sitting in a classroom learning about math or English or something
Yeah.
like that. Tell us how because I'm sure you've taken some of those classes
Yes.
too, but tell us how those classes are different from what you do with biotechnology.
So the classes are different what we do with biotechnology because it's really important in terms of working in industry or even research to work on soft skills. So like you said, the whole math and just the knowledge. But
Right.
that's only a portion of what we teach. We like to teach them how to communicate, which is really big in any environment,
Right.
even if you're working alone, because it's important to communicate with your management and all like that. So we like to emphasize that not only are we going to teach you the necessary lab skills that you're going to need to work anywhere, but also the soft skills to communicate and make you a better person overall.
To kind of like help people integrate into like job environments,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Excellent. So how are you feeling about your future, Arturo? Where do you think you're going next?
I'm really excited. I've recently looked into applying to transfer out to
Okay.
four-year university. So I think I'm gonna try to get research opportunities wherever I transfer. And hopefully, I'm really interested in working in research. So wherever once I get my degree, I'd like to do some research on anything really.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being with us. We're going to go back to Katie now with another interview at the Huntington Beach Pier.
Thank you, Andrew. I'm here with Matthew Duncan, a welding student and the ASG representative for the CTE program. Matthew, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Pleasure to join you.
So can you just like explain a little bit about the welding program that you're part of?
So the welding technology program consists of a intro to welding and the principles and guidelines of welding, and it gets your feet wet to get you prepared for what's to expect in your path of learning, and to get you prepared to enter the industry.
And so, as a student, do you think that you're prepared to enter the industry when you're going to finish your program?
I've had a lot of exposure in the classroom and with experienced professionals outside the classroom. I'm familiar with the language and maybe you might call it jargon, and I do feel that I would be prepared for the industry.
And what are your career plans?
My career plans is to end up in an underwater welding field after I finish with Santa Ana College.
And what does that entail?
That entails going to a diving program, becoming a scuba diver first, learning underwater medicine, learning diving, learning underwater rigging, and then practicing the skills of underwater welding.
So Santa Ana College is just the first step in
Yes.
your career path.
It's the foundation where I'm building my future off of.
And have you worked in the field yet, or do you have any certifications? Can you describe your career experience in the program, within the program?
So far through the school, I've attained a few minor internships for a couple week-long or multiple weeks or a few month projects that I've been able to participate in, and have been paid through those as well. So a part of that is the Federal Student Work Program is working with the professors and performing various tasks that is needed by the professors.
Okay.
Others include taking industry leaders that are seeking employment or interns and gaining some minor experience through their programs that they offer through their companies. Through the school, I've gotten the welding proficiency certification, and I've also tested out for my AWS D11 certification, and I've obtained that successfully.
And so can you just explain what an AWS D11 is?
The AWS is the American Welding Society. They set the standards globally for the welding standards that we all recognize, and whether it be structural, manufacturing, quality control, or any other preference or guideline that's needed to have a quality in welding.
So that kind of sets the
Yes.
sets the standard, having that certification.
The D1.1 certification is your basic structural steel certification. It would be considered a pre-qualifying industrial certification.
Okay. And so, if just to switch gears a little bit, tell us about your role in ASG and how you got involved with that.
So I saw the Associated Student Government having a promotional event. I believe it might have been a club rush, and I saw them all participating, doing stuff on behalf of just representing the student body, and I liked what they were doing. I wanted to be a part of that, so I applied, and it was to my discovery that there had been a vacant position for the CTE cap, which the courses I had already been taking fall under that. So I noticed, all right, I had never been represented by a student body, and I felt the calling to take on that role.
And so, what have you done in your capacity as CTE representative?
So far, the moves I've already made are identifying all the classes that I represent. I've created a master schedule where I can make a classroom presentation from rather 5 to 10 minutes, where I go and tell every student under my course cap in every class about school events that they may never ever find out about because of the courses that they're taking, and also take feedback of maybe R&R about what they want to be voiced at the board meetings, which I have a public forum. I get to talk about what the students are experiencing. So my primary goal is to change the student experience to make it more positive, for students to be more engaged and to feel more accepted and involved in their education.
All right, thank you so much for joining me, Matt. Andrew, back to you.
Thanks, Katie. I'm being joined right now by Greg Gonzalez from SAC's Welding Department. Greg, it's great to have you here. You're an assistant professor here at SAC. Tell us a little bit about how you got your start here and just how it's been for you so far.
My start here, it's been great. I love it at SAC, but my start here, I was in the field. Originally, I was an iron worker with Local 433, and I ended up getting an injury and started pursuing welding inspection. And what during the, kind of going to school to become a welding inspector, a couple of my friends that were instructors knew about the opening at Santa Ana and referred me to get the position. I ended up getting it. So.
And how's it been so far? Have you enjoyed having students? Because I imagine that's kind of a big shift for you, going from working in the field to instructing.
It definitely is. It was a shift going from the field to the classroom, but I really enjoy it. I have a passion for it now, and not only helping students learn the trade, but also my desire to learn as well as I'm teaching.
And just a second ago, you said classroom, but I have a feeling like you guys do a lot of out-of-classroom work too, right?
Oh yeah,
Can
definitely.
you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, our class consists of a lab period and a lecture period. And the lab, we spend the majority of our time in the lab because, as you know, welding is a hands-on trade. So, with consistency, predictability, repetition, that's what we really try to hammer home with the students. And so, we spend about half an hour in the classroom setting doing lecture, and then the majority of the time we spend about 3 or 4 hours in the lab setting.
Okay. That's something that I've kind of heard a bit of from some of the other CTE certificate people, is that it's not just let's learn the theory or let's learn the technique, but let's learn how to be consistent and what employers are going to expect, right?
Exactly.
Is that what you guys try to hammer home with them?
Exactly. What we're looking for, in the long run is to get our students employed. And not only the education, but going in with the knowledge to be successful and to be a great employee, along with, making our community better.
Excellent. What have you seen in terms of that from people moving on from your certificate to get employed?
It happens quite frequently. Right now is a really good time to get into the welding industry, whether it's structural, aerospace, medical. There's so many different avenues. And inspection, you could go into, construction management. There's so many different avenues. And, with the increase in the rate of employment over the next 5 years, we're really looking at a jump in student enrollment right now.
Excellent. So when students leave your program, do you set them up with internships? You have connections in the field?
Yes.
Because that sounds like something that's a lot different from what typical majors do, where it's go out and find an internship for yourself. And you tell us a little about the benefit that people have going through this program.
Well, both Zach Diamond, the other instructor, and I, we have a network of industry partners, as well as we do biannually advisory panel committees per year, as well as open houses too. And we invite the industry to come to the school and meet the students. And so it really bonds, makes that connection between the students and industry. And that's our goal, like I said, is to get the students employed, get the education, get the employment.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I know I've had friends who go through 4-year universities, and one of the big things that they're always worried about is networking and trying to make sure that they have connections. And one thing I've noticed talking to people today, going through these programs, is that a lot of that work is not done for them. They still have to put their own best foot forward and all that. But they do get a little bit of an advantage over people who are just kind of pushed out into the world all on their own.
Definitely. And another thing, my mind went blank. Sorry.
No, don't worry about it. I think we've covered a pretty good amount of ground.
Okay.
Excellent.
There was something that I was going to add to what you were just saying, but
That's
we'll
all
have
right,
to edit that out.
Yeah, we'll take that part out in post, right? Greg, thank you very much for being with me today.
All right, thank you. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Katie, we're going back to my co-host Katie LeCarry at the Huntington Beach Pier for one more interview for you guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Andrew. I'm joined right now with Michael Taylor, who is head of SAC's TV and Media Department.
Yes.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Professor Taylor. So can you just tell us a little bit about the program in general?
All right, well, our program really focuses on getting students into the workforce in career and technical education when it comes to broadcast journalism, this program right here, video production and film, and agency, which teaches students how to do all the video production techniques but work for clients. And so that's our big overall picture of the programs we have.
And so how are there any students right now that went through the program that are working in the field?
We have a number of students who have gone through the field. We have 2 students right now who both happen to be in Las Vegas that were recent graduates. We have a student that works for NBC Universal, and our weather person, Vera Jimenez on Channel 5 KTLA went through our Santa Ana College program. So, and there are more just scattered throughout the country that have done that. Also, students just go into video production, film production, screenwriting. They work as freelance camera people, freelance editors, and so we just have a real wide swath of students that go into just the whole digital media spectrum once they leave our program with a certificate or an AA degree.
And so unlike other CTE programs, we also have associate's degrees. Is that what you were saying?
Right. Well, some departments have both AAs and CTEs, and we have the certificate programs, and that's really a concentration for students to understand that if you're not going to college for your gen eds, your history, your math, your English, you're just getting that certificate. You're taking the core classes. They're going to teach you a trade, so you can just enter the workforce if you want to be a photographer, an editor, on-camera reporter, such as yourself, and those kinds of things. Those are just the core classes. You get those done in a year to a year and a half, and you have that certificate, and you're ready to join that workforce. And then the AA degree includes all of those classes, then the general education classes for students who want maybe a more well-rounded experience at college, and for those who are interested in transferring to a 4-year university as well.
And what kind of work experiences are available to students through the program?
Well, we have all sorts. Within our program, we have a great agency program where we actually bring students in and we give them work experience while they're still students. And so they're getting paid to produce real client videos. Clients who need videos, some sort of marketing video, or they want to do something with their website, we bring those students in who have taken all of the core classes, and we make that kind of a capstone class. So not only it's a class, but you're also working for a client. And with that, you get 2 things. You get the experience of working with a client, and you also get to build your portfolio. Because employers want to know that you can do the work. Not that you have a certificate or a degree, but you can do the work that they're asking you to do. And so they look at that portfolio and say, okay, this is a video I produced. I edited this video, we added the soundtrack, we did the color correction, we did the videography, screenwriting, and all of the things you do to create a video or marketing piece. Then the students have both that certificate and they also have that portfolio that they can show clients to enter the workforce.
And then can you also just briefly go over, we have our own separate campus on
Sure.
At SAC.
Right.
So if you can talk a little bit about our facilities that we have.
Well, we have the facility called the Digital Media Center. It's just off campus on Bristol, and it was built about 12 years ago now, and it was built really from the ground up to be a digital media center, and that includes digital music, digital media and graphic design. We have our own program in there, television and video, and so it's really kind of a place to come with the latest and greatest technologies. We have Mac labs, we have editing suites, we have state-of-the-art camera equipment, we have state-of-the-art music and editing programs, state-of-the-art digital media arts and graphic design programs. So it's kind of a very fiber optically connected, very digitally intensive platform and area where our students come in and they work on the state-of-the-art industry standard equipment, which is important. So our students can really come from our program and really turnkey into the tools and the equipment that professionals are using in the field. And so we are right at that level. So students, when they leave our program, they're like, I've worked on this equipment before, I know this stuff. And so it's a very, very good transition from the Digital Media Center into the world of work.
Thank you very much for joining me, Professor Taylor.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining me from the Great Pacific Airshow. Check out this week's edition of SAC News on our YouTube and check out our Facebook page.